Hi all and welcome back. This is Displaced, a new open-world survival game from 10 Tons, the studio behind Dysmantle, which currently sits at 90% positive on Steam. And yes, I'll explain what actually changed compared to Dysmantle in a minute. The core of Displaced is the familiar survival loop, gather, craft, expand, but it drops you into a collapsing fantasy world where most of what you see can be dismantled and reused. And then, suddenly something completely modern shows up. A traffic sign, a washing machine, just random objects that don't belong there. Before we go further, the developer gave me full access to the game, with one request. Don't review it yet, since it's still in development. That level of transparency is rare in this industry, so I respect it. That also fits this channel perfectly, because I don't review anyway. I break down what the game actually is, so you don't have to sit through 5 minutes of filler to figure out whether it's for you. So let's get into it. Once you start playing, the core loop becomes clear fast. You explore, dismantle objects for materials, craft better gear, and push into new areas. The destruction is broad, but it's not magic. It's mostly about giving you more control over how you gather resources. You're rarely stuck hunting for tiny nodes because the environment itself becomes your resource pool. Combat is real-time and functional, but set expectations correctly. This is still an indie survival game in early access. It's not trying to be a flashy action RPG. You have melee weapons, ranged options, and occasionally modern tools like explosives or firearms that shift encounters. The fun comes more from preparation and upgrades than from complex combat depth. If you're expecting this to reinvent survival mechanics, it doesn't. The loop is still gather, craft, upgrade, repeat. The difference is how destruction feeds that loop and how modern objects sometimes give you unexpected solutions. It adds variety, but it doesn't redefine the genre. What does give it structure is the questing. There's a clear through line tied to the Eternals and the collapsing world, so you're not just sandboxing. You're moving toward objectives. That's important because it naturally leads into base building. You're encouraged to create campsites and outposts as you push forward. The map is large enough that one central base becomes inefficient for exploration, so progression turns into push outward, set up forward infrastructure, and then connect it all back. But that doesn't mean a main base stops mattering. A proper central base still becomes your core crafting hub, while outposts act more like extensions. Travel is layered. You'll unlock fast travel points, you can shorten routes over time, and mounts reduce friction when you're moving between regions. So you don't have to abandon your base, and you don't have to just extend your travel time. The game allows you to do it in the way you want. Now let's talk about difficulty. It's approachable. It doesn't overload you with survival meters early on, and onboarding is smooth. It's easy to get into, especially compared to more punishing survival games. Since this comes from the developers of Dysmantle, let's quickly break down what has changed. This is technically a spin-off set in a fantasy world, but it's not just a reskin. On a systems level, they've added proper NPCs and a dialogue system, which immediately changes the feeling compared to Dysmantle's more lonely traversal. There are traders, quest givers, and more structured lore. Level design is also different. You can jump now, which opens up more vertical exploration, and the world is built with more intentional vistas instead of mostly top-down clearance zones. Crafting is deeper, with more materials and combinations, and combat has been expanded with blocking and timed parries. Enemies aren't just creatures either. Some are human. They can throw knives if you try to cheese positioning, and they can even heal. That alone changes encounter behavior compared to Dysmantle. And of course, online multiplayer is built in from the start. So yes, the dismantle to progress DNA is still there. But mechanically and structurally, there are a lot of additions layered on top. So what is Dysplaced? It's a large-scale survival crafting game with heavy environmental interaction, a quest-driven backbone, and a strange twist where modern junk bleeds into fantasy. It doesn't reinvent the formula, it commits to it and builds outward. Now you have a clear picture of what Dysplaced actually is, without filler or bias. That was it. If you like videos that do not waste your time, then please consider to like and subscribe. Regardless, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.